Hello, everyone. It's Ashley with CourtReserve. I love doing webinars, and I'm super excited because we have a new webinar specialist today. Dylan works on our customer support team, and Dylan and I were talking about what do customers come in to support with questions about? And he's like, oh, spicing up their player portal. So that's basically what we named the webinar for today. And Dylan, thanks for ponying up and doing this with me.
Absolutely.
We're
It
getting
is my
ready to have
pleasure.
we're going to have some fun today. So if you're new to CourtReserve or you've never been on a webinar, let me just go over some housekeeping skills. We will record this and we will put this up on the CourtReserve YouTube channel later today. If you have not subscribed to YouTube, I would highly recommend it. That way, if you miss a webinar, you'll get notified that we've done a new webinar or any other videos that we may put out, because we want to make sure you're educated on how to use CourtReserve. And we've also started a new podcast. It's called Unscripted. So I'm interviewing a lot of people in the space, tennis and pickleball and badminton and paddle. And so it's a really cool webinar. It's on Spotify and Apple. You can go out and listen to it. And I keep them short. I mean, nobody wants to listen to an hour podcast. Mine are like 5 to 20 minutes. So we keep it short and fun. So let's get started. Got a few reminders. Our last two in-person Catalyst events are coming up, and you do not want to miss this. I am bringing the best staff. Unfortunately, Dylan can't come. He's busy that day, but I am bringing a ton of great product people with me to teach you guys. We've reduced it to 1 day. We're going to the West Coast on September 17th, near Seattle, at a beautiful country club out there. And we're also going to the Northeast, Skillman, New Jersey, in September as well. So if you're going to come to Seattle, we need you to buy your tickets within the next week, because by next Monday, we're cutting off registration because we have to know how many people are coming. We've got clubs. One club is bringing 9 staff members and another is bringing 7. They're all fired up about learning about CourtReserve. So it's really cool. And I think at the Seattle one, we're all going to get together the night before and hang out and network. So that'll be a fun time as well. And if you are up in the Northeast, we're coming up. Our team's going to be at the New England Tennis Weekend put on by the USTA. And then if you're around Texas, come and see me. I will be at the Racket X City Series at the Austin Country Club in October. We love those. Great information. If you need a ticket to the Austin event, let me know. I could probably hook you up with a free ticket. Hey, don't miss, if you're a pickleball club or facility, Pickleball Club Mastermind. This is probably the last one of this year, unless we want to go to Utah and when it's really cold. But it's coming up in a couple weeks. They've already got 30 some people going to Utah from all over the country who are going to talk about pickleball. It's incredible. We love it. And it's just great. I mean, I love it because now I own a pickleball club because we weren't busy enough at CourtReserve. So now we have another business. But it's great. You'll learn a lot, and it's a great time. So a gentle reminder from our product team that the court reservation lottery is now released in beta. So if you guys are interested in the court lottery reservation system, go out to chat support and say, hey, Ashley told me that I could have this in my CourtReserve account. They'll turn it on for you. You guys can use it, play with it, give us feedback. Because remember, if it's in beta, it's not exactly the way we want it. That's why we want you to turn it on and use it. So reach out to support. They'll get that turned on for you. And you know we love ideas. So when you log in as a CourtReserve admin, up in the top right-hand corner beside your name, there's the little light bulb. So we are looking for your ideas. We have a brand new way of kind of taking all the ideas and really managing them. We have a brand new product manager, and she is really diving deep into things. And so if you want your idea in CourtReserve, get it on the board soon. And so she'll probably kill me after this webinar because she'll be inundated with new ideas. But she's great. Dylan, are you ready to dive in?
I'm ready to dive in.
I think it's time. Let's do it. Let me stop the share here.
Sure.
And I am ready. And folks, don't forget, we love your questions, but if you'll put those over in the Q&A, that makes it really easy for me. Dylan's going to go through everything, but go ahead and put your questions in the Q&A. And at the end, we'll go over your questions or find out what the answer is and get back to you later. All right, my friend, let's go.
Perfect. Let's go. Hey, everybody. I am Dylan. I've been with Court Reserve since December of last year, and I've absolutely fallen in love. I think it is one of the best places I've ever worked, and I've also fallen in love with the player portal and how it works, how it functions, and just the ability that it gives people to be able to play their favorite sport with their favorite people. And so today, I want to make sure that we are setting up your player portal and your homepage to be as best as it can be so that people are able to navigate it, understand it, and comprehend it, and kind of get a taste of who you are as a company and based on your brand and your logo and everything else like that. So today I'd like to go over a few things, and here is a list. Also, full clarity, I've never done a webinar before. Very nervous, but I'm so excited to be able to share all this information with you because it's a passion of mine, and I know that you're going to be able to benefit from it. So here's a list of what we got going on. We're going to know how to update your club's logo and incorporate your logo or brand's coloring into your homepage, how to update the content in your header and footer, how to create rows and the differences between hero and content rows, how to create other pages besides your homepage, how to create specific links to a certain event, how to incorporate announcements into your player portal, and how all of this on the desktop relates to the mobile view of everything going on. So if we have time, we'll get to those at the very end, but let's get into the meat and potatoes here. I will go ahead and share my screen and we will hop in to this. Let's see. Here we go.
Looks
Awesome.
great.
Awesome. Okay. So we're on the settings here. And when you're in the settings, if you want to view your portal, you just click View Member Portal here, and it's going to take you to your portal. Now, this is an example of what I've got going on in my portal. And up top, we've got the logo, we've got our menu, we've got my player name, who I'm logged in as, and then we have some content in the middle. At the bottom, we've got what's called the footer, which has your logo, hours of operation, a couple other links, hours availability, and link here. And then in the middle, this is the most important part, in my opinion, is the rows. So each section here, as you can see, there's a big section here, there's a big section here, and then another one down here. These are called rows. Now, there's two separate kinds of rows. There's hero rows, which have big images with some big bold text and a couple of buttons if you want them to be there. And then you have content rows, which are kind of way more versatile and a little bit more complicated to set up, but way more versatile as far as what you want to add. So in here, I've got some text, got an image, and overall, you've got this whole just based on my logo alone, I've got a simple logo that's blue and white. And based off that, I've been able to spice up my homepage, make all of my branding colors all the same and flow together and everything like that. So you might ask, why is this important? Because some of you have a separate website that you use outside of Court Reserve. At the end of the day, even though you have a separate website, it's always going to be linked to Court Reserve, and your members are going to have to jump into Court Reserve at some point. And so, what you want is for both your website and your Court Reserve homepage to look as clean as possible so that your members are not confused or anything like that. So let's hop over into what your homepage might look like as soon as you join Court Reserve. So it's essentially a blank slate. We give you all the resources to change whatever you need to, and we start you off simple. But let's go ahead and look into how to change things up. So I'm going to hop in here to my location 2. I'm going to go to settings. And the first place we want to go is to portal settings and website. This is where we're primarily going to be hanging out today. So in the website, we're going to hop over here and go immediately to logo. So Court Reserve logo is beautiful, but what we want to do is upload our own logo. And when we're uploading a logo, it's not going to show here until we save, but after we save, it will show here. What I like to do is make logos as big and as simple as possible. So I keep my logo pretty simple with just 2 colors, and I'm filling the space up as much as humanly possible so that when I go to the member portal and look at it, it is showing as big as possible so that members can see that this is my organization. I'm going to hop back in here and keep on going. So we're going to go back to the general tab, And this is where we're going to work on our coloring. So let me see if I can find it here. Yes. So the very first options are right here. We have the primary background color, the primary text color, header footer background color, and header and footer text color. So what you choose to do here is going to be based on what you decide. But what I like to do is play around and test out some colors that look good for me and look good for my brand and my logo. And so right here, you have the option of entering a hex number. If you click these arrows, you can also click add RGB colors, and then you can just play around with the color wheel if you want to as well. I've already got my personal colors set up, and so I'm going to go ahead and add those here. And once I click save, we've got this darker blue color for the header and footer. And then for the primary background, it's a lighter blue. And then all of my text colors are going to be white. And so when I hop back into the member portal or the player portal, I can see that I've got my footer at the very bottom and I've got my header at the very top, which is dark blue. And then my primary colors, you might be wondering, where are those? Those are going to be on your primary elements of your player portal. So you've got the primary buttons here, which have the light blue and the white text. And then if I highlight some things over here, you can see that I've got light blue with white text. And so that is where that is. So we're going to hop into back here to our settings. Oh, one thing, when you're navigating back and forth between the member portal and the admin, it is important that you're specifying where you are. So I've currently got my player portal open here, and I've got my admin open here in the settings. Now, if I try to do anything on the admin side, my system knows that I'm currently in the player portal. And so jumping back and forth can be very tricky. So I just be very careful when you're doing that and making sure that you're going back and telling your system, hey, I'm back in my organization. And then I can safely hop into this tab and keep working on things. So next up, under the footer, you have the ability to add little icons for your other website, for your Facebook, and for your Instagram. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to copy the full link for those from either Facebook, Instagram, or your website and leave them here. What I see a lot of organizations do is just leave the very first portion of their link. So it could be like mywebsite.com. And then if they leave it here, the link won't actually work properly. It needs to be the full and absolute link with this little section starting it off. And then I want to show my hours of operation in my footer. And once I do this, I'll save, hop back over to my member portal. And at the very bottom, now I have these icons here with my website linked, my Facebook, and my Instagram. And how you're going to get those links is by simply going to those pages yourself and copying the links up top. I just randomly chose this link just to fill it in for example's sake, but if you fill those in properly and click them, they should take you to the appropriate pages. Also, I've added my hours of availability down here in the footer, and we can also add some other links in the footer as well, but we'll get to that later. So we're going to hop back into our admin here, and we're going to start working on our rows. So rows are the building blocks of websites. Essentially, you're going to have your header at the top and your footer at the bottom, and all of the rows are going to be like the little Lego blocks in between. And so within a web page, you have to have rows to fill out your content. So I have a few rows here already built, but I want to walk you through what building a row looks like. So again, we're in the settings and we're in the website settings here, and we're going to go to the rows tab. If we go to create row, it's going to give us the option to add us a title. So I'm just going to call this row 1, and we're going to start with a hero row. The hero row, as we mentioned, has a big image, has some buttons, and a little other features that you can add as well. Within rows and within pages in general, you have the option of display type, which is really cool because you can make things really versatile by only displaying to anonymous users or logged in users or both. If you want to, you can add three of the same rows or six different rows to your home page, some that are showing to logged in users and some that are showing only to logged out users. And you can have two completely different home pages based on if your players are logged in or logged out. So I think that's a really cool use case, but we're going to keep that as all in this case, and we're going to continue. So buttons are really important because they allow you to link your players to specific pages that they might have a hard time finding. And the use cases will come up a little bit better later on, but I'm just going to fill in some examples here as I've got upcoming events and then book a court. Obviously, these are going to be in my upper menu as well, so they're not that important, but to fill them in for this, for the time being is what we're going to do. So we've got our buttons set up. We have the option for 3 buttons in total. If we want just 1 or 2, that's totally awesome. But just 2 is what I'm going to use for our example today. You've got your button styles here. You can make it contained or outlined. You can set a color just like before. I'm going to keep my text white and I'm going to set my color to a darker blue. And then here is the biggest part of the hero, your image. So when you go to upload an image, it's going to upload here and you're going to have the ability to crop it however you want to. Once you do, you're going to click confirm. And by default, there's going to be a display overlay on image. This is because when you're writing text out on a hero, it can only be white. And it's important that your members are able to see that text. And if there's no overlay, sometimes depending on the image, it's going to be a little too bright for your members to read that text. So currently in this case, I'm going to leave the overlay on so that members can see what I've got written out here. And here is where we get to add what we want to write. And what we're writing here is our header message here. And then underneath, I've got a subheader as well as an option. I'm going to leave that blank, but actually, let's go ahead and add it here. And we can add a divider just so that you can see what it looks like. So this is our hero we've got set up. Once we click save, we have the ability to access it here and now. But in order to add it to our home page, we're going to have to hop back over to home page and click onto this screen. So you can see on the left you have available rows, and on the right you have your home page. But in order to add it to the home page, you have to find it over here and click add. So we've just added our first row to our home page. If we hop into the member portal, we see that it's here. We've got our little test and divider that we added. I'm going to get rid of those, but I just wanted to show you what those look like as an example. So that is how you add a row to your player portal and to your home page. So let's create one more row that is not a hero row, but a content row. So first I'm going to go and edit this one and get rid of our test and save changes. And now we're going to create another row. So there's also the ability to add a row right here in the create row section, but I like to do it from the rows section here just because that's how I work. But anyways, we're going to add a title, and this is going to be row number 2, and we're going to do content instead of hero this time. Display type is going to be all, and then for our sake, I'm going to change the background color to a darker blue and get started here. So within your content rows, you have the ability to add, here, let's make it white. By default, you can just start adding text in here. You can add images if you'd like to. Let's see, we can add the CourtReserve image here. We can add text. Obviously, this doesn't look very clean, but you have the ability to make it as clean as you want to. So this can be, you can add a title, and you can center it and move it similarly to how you would do in like a Word document or something like that. And then you can update the text by highlighting it and changing the formatting of it here, changing the size of it here. It's very versatile. And so you can add a title, and then you can add some other text here. You can center that as well, all of that. What we're going to do for the sake of spicing up my homepage is we're going to add an image and some text together at the same time. And so in order to do that, what I like to do is use a table. So if I click this button, I can create a table. And I can make it as big or as small as I want to. And it's going to give me options for rows and columns based on how I choose to do it. You also have the option to preset some settings here, but I like to just simplify and use the the display that it first gives you right here. And so what I've chosen to do is add one row with two columns. And it might be a little difficult to see. So let's make our screen darker here. And then I'm going to add some text. Now, what I already have done here is some pre-built text that I've already written and styled, but you can do the same for yourself. You can just add it in here, style it up, organize it however you want to do, and then I can add in an image. So I'm going to find an image that I like, insert it into this cell, and then we'll be good to go. Now, as a bit of a housekeeping thing, tables in general are not normally or historically meant for styling websites. They were primarily made for data entry and mathy things, but today we're going to be using them for styling purposes. So just keep that in mind. If it gives you any issues, it's a little finicky, but this is what I'm using today to make sure that things look good on my end. So when I save, if I save right now on my homepage, it's still going to show with these outlined dots right here, this border around the table itself. So what I want to do in order to get rid of that on the player portal is I'm going to go to edit right here. I'm going to go to cell and I'm going to change dotted to be none and click OK. I'm going to do that for this cell and I'm going to do it for this cell as well. I'm going to go to cell, dotted to none, click OK, and then we're going to click save. So that is our first content row. And in order to add it to the home page, we have to come over here from the available rows and add it to our home page. So I'm going to click add. And now we have our content row added. If we go to our player portal, we can see that indeed it has been added right here with our text and our image, and there's no border around them. So that is good to go. So let's hop back in here to location 2. And just as a note, if ever you're getting rid of rows within your homepage or other pages, if you click delete, it's going to give you a little warning saying, are you sure? It's not actually deleting the row from its source. It's just deleting it off of that page. So you can safely get rid of rows on this end without actually getting rid of them entirely. So I'm going to add that back. And I'm actually going to add some other rows that I have pre-made so that my player portal looks good. It's essentially just a copy of what we did, just in reverse with some different text and some different images here. Okie dokie. Let me move on to entirely different pages. So we've set up a home page, but if we want to set up an entirely different page for your members to access, we can do so on the page builder. So I've already got one made here, but let's go ahead and start from scratch and see what that looks like. So we can create page and we can call it whatever we want to. To keep it simple, I'm just going to make an frequently asked questions page. And once I do, it's going to be set up just like the home page was with our available rows and our title right here. And I've already got a pre-made row made for this. And if we want to edit it just to see it, it's just a row with some text at the top, some text in the middle with frequently asked questions. I've styled it with a color. I've changed the text from black to white. And then I've saved and I've added it into my FAQs right here. So we've got our page made with our rows. Now, how do we add it to our actual home page? So right here at the top left, we have copy URL. So we've got that copied. I'm going to go back into my settings, go to website, and then I'm going to go to menu. From here, I'm going to create a header link, and it's going to give me the option to add a title. I'm going to say FAQs, make that smaller. And then we're going to add that link that we copied. And again, we can choose our display type to be whatever we want to. I'm going to keep it as all and click save. Now we've got our link added into our menu. And if ever we want to sort the menu, we can do so with this option here and drag and drop links to wherever we want them to be. So this is a snapshot of our menu. When we go to our player portal, we see that we have our menu updated up here with our FAQs. If we click into it, I've got a whole nother page that is listed out based on a row that I made and included there. Now, it's important to note that if you do have other pages linked in your header, the pages will be accessible on mobile. And sometimes when you're on mobile, they're not going to look the same, or oftentimes they're not going to look the same as they do on the desktop. And so as an example here, this FAQs page is going to look a little bit more squished in a smaller viewport. And so obviously keep that in mind whenever you're making pages and be very cautious about how they look on both mobile and on desktop. So we've gone over how to add a link into your menu here, but how do you add a link into the footer here? Let's go over that now. We're going to hop back into the admin, go to our location, go to settings. We're going to go to website, and we're going to go to footer links. Now we still have that link copied, but similarly to how we added it to our menu, we're going to create a link here. We'll call it FAQs again. We'll paste the link here and click save. And now we've added the link to our footer. And before I do that, I want to show you an option on the menu, which I think is really cool. If you have sublinks that you want to add to a particular link in your menu, you can do so by clicking here on the create a sublink. So you've got FAQs, but what if you want to be more specific? We're going to create a sublink here and say, well, question 1 is going to be listed here. And I've got a different page for that, and create another sublink. Question 2 is going to be listed here. I've got another page for that. I'm saving that. And so let me show you an example of what that might look like. So right now, instead of just having the plain old link, I've got drop downs with links to separate pages if you so choose to make them. And the original link doesn't work anymore, but the sublinks do. And then at the very bottom, we added our extra links here with our FAQs, and it will now take us to that page from the footer instead of the header. It's worth noting that anything in the menu in the header is going to transfer over to the mobile, and any extra links that you add in the footer is not going to transfer to mobile. So if you want to keep things just on the desktop, I would suggest adding them only in the links in the bottom of the footer and not in your menu. So let's see. Okay, cool. One last thing I want to cover before I hop over to my original location is your settings within your menu. You've got navigation right here. Navigation is pretty cool because it allows you to hide or reveal certain aspects of your player portal based on certain memberships. And so you've got all my memberships listed out here. And if I want to only show events to my players and not my non-members, I can do so here. But another important key is that right here, I have the default make a reservation. I can change that to be whatever I want to. I can just say reservations or lessons or whatever I want to call it here. That can be updated here and you can save it. But moving right along, I'm going to hop back over to my original location and show you something really cool called event filters. So within my events list, I have several different events. I've got classes for adults, I've got some open plays, I've got some junior programs. But in order for my members to see this, they'll go to my member portal, click events, go to list, and they'll see all sorts of different kinds that are all jumbled all together. Now, in order to categorize those, I've got them categorized, and people will have to manually click on that category to sort it themselves. If you want to pre-sort them and list them for your members, what you could do is you can go back to your admin panel, go to your settings, you can go to your website, go to event filters, and click create event filter. From here, we can say junior programs. We can call it the same thing on the navigation name, and we can categorize it by junior programs. And so there's a lot more versatility as far as sorting these links. But currently, I'm just going to keep it simple by sorting by category, making sure that it's active, and show filter in the event tab on the member portal, and click save. So when I've done that, right now, when I go to my member portal and hover over links, it's going to give me the option to go straight to junior programs. So if I click that, It's going to pull up all my junior programs. And as you can see, the category is already pre-checked. Now I can do that with adult clinics, with adult socials, open plays, and so on. But that's just one example of how you can do that. And similarly to adding pages into your menu, you can do so with event filters the same way that you would after you build a custom page. And that can be done right here by copying the link, going to your menu, creating a header link, and adding it here. I'm not going to do so right now, but you're more than capable of doing that. We're almost out of time here as far as me showing you things, but I want to show you a few more things, and that would be announcements. So go into your settings, and if you have announcements that you're shouting out to your players, we can add one right here and create a global announcement. So let's say there's free lunch on Tuesday. And we're going to make this active from yesterday till the end of Tuesday. And we're going to make sure that we display for everybody. So we're not going to make this too specific. We can mark it as urgent if we want to as well. And then let's see. Perfect. You can add your text here. Hey, come and get some free lunch. And then we can save. And if we've done that and we go to our member portal, we can see at the very top, we have announcements showing at the very top of our homepage. We also have it showing in our menu, and people can go directly to them here as that is an option. In order to sort that out a little bit more, we have the option in settings and website in the menu, or sorry, in the homepage here, we have announcements added to our homepage. If we don't want it on the homepage itself, but just up in the menu page, we can just delete it from our homepage section here, and we should be good to go. Um, cool. I think that's about all the time I have, unless Ashley wants to give me some more. But as you can see, we've taken our member portal or player portal from a very blank canvas to a very filled in homepage just in a few minutes with the settings in the website settings and a couple more. And this just helps you flesh out your brand, your logo, and everything else for your members in order to make the experience much more enjoyable. What
Oh,
you think,
that's
Ashley?
been great. It's just been so good and so helpful. I
Awesome.
do want to bring up a couple things. I know before in customer support,
Hmm.
occasionally we will get tickets where people are creating text in a Word doc and they're
Hmm.
taking that text and just copying it
Yes.
directly to the website and it
Yes.
breaks. Can you kind of explain what they should be doing? Stop where you are right now.
100%.
I want to point something out to folks. The
Sure.
reason that you see locations is because if you're an enterprise club, maybe you have multi locations, you can actually have different member portals for your different
Hmm.
locations, which is a great thing. I know we have several of those, and so that makes it really easy. But if you want to go ahead and explain the HTML and all that, that'd be great.
100%. So what Ashley's talking about is sometimes within rows, if we create them here, let's say I copy some text from a different place and I add it here. Let's change the color just so that we can see it. Make it hot pink. All right. Um, so if I'm copying it from a different location, like I would with my player portal. So let's hop in here. I'm going to copy it from right here. As you can see, I'm copying it and it already has white text. And so your system understands that when you're copying something and you're pasting it over, it's here, but it's already styled the way that it is when you first copied it. I'm going to turn it pink just so that we can see it. Actually, let's just make our background a little bit darker so we can see it. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I've copied it and it's keeping its style. Within rows and within a few different other sections of Court Reserve, we can open up this View HTML screen right here, and you can see there's a lot of coding jargon. And if you know HTML and CSS, and even JavaScript sometimes, you can see and understand what's going on here. I highly advise that you don't mess around with this unless you're super familiar with web development. But essentially, when you're copying over things from other websites into rows, or even I see it a lot with event descriptions or any other sort of descriptions within Court Reserve. Sometimes it doesn't save properly because Court Reserve only allows for certain formatting, and it only allows it because it provides it all here for you. You've got lists, you've got numbers. I see a lot of times whenever folks have issues, it's because there's lists already made that they're copying from elsewhere. And let's see, cool. And they find a lot of times that they have issues with these little dots showing up. It's just really important that when you are copying things over, that you have the option right here to clean formatting. If I click this, it will automatically get rid of any styles, any colors, anything that's on the text itself. And then I can go in and I can format it from there. So if you're copying it from a different website, I would make sure that you're highlighting everything, and then you're clearing the formatting, and then you format it using Court Reserve's tools that are built in.
That is a great answer. I know it drives people nuts sometimes, but it does help to start with a clean slate.
100%.
So, okay, so let's start going. We have some great questions.
Okay.
So Michelle, her question is, let's see, by having the league button on our portal, it's
Mhm.
misleading because our leagues are on Swish. Is there a way to
Mm.
connect leagues with Swish events? When the members click on leagues, there isn't anything there. Michelle, let me see. So what do you think, Dylan? I mean, I would
Yeah.
probably change your button because right
Yes.
now there's no way. I mean, you could actually change the league button and connect your
Mhm.
players to learn what Swish is, but not definitely the Swish, like, push to Swish event stuff.
Sure. Sure. So, Michelle, I think the best option for you here would be under portal settings. If we go to website, like we said before, we've got the option for navigation. I think I could be wrong. Here we go. Hide my leagues. So you've got hide leagues list as well. So let's open my member portal and make sure that they're showing first. Okay, I've got leagues showing here. If I go back to my admin panel and I've hidden my leagues, I save this, it should hide leagues from the menu here. And now what I can do is I can create an event filter, which we went over before. And if I've got my events categorized as like league event or swish event or something like that, I can add that back into my menu here and direct my players straight to those particular events, just like I've directed them to junior programs. I can categorize them and link them that way instead of linking them to default links with or default leagues within your court reserve. Does that make
Yeah,
sense, Ashley?
love that. Yeah, that's really good. That's
Awesome.
something I hadn't thought of, so that's good. Okay, Joe says, what are the limitations on image sizes?
Good question. I don't think there are any limitations per se, but I've definitely seen time and time again where images are just massive. And when that's the case, it just takes time for a court reserve to load it. So my suggestion is to keep things fairly small. Within a row, let's create a row here. I can pull in an image, and this is a fairly large image. It's my image for my hero row. But if this is like 5 times bigger than it is right now, it's going to take the system a very long time to load in. I think if it is uploaded to the home page, it will load in and it will size appropriately. But that's not always the case for mobile because of the behind the scenes work going on in the code.
Yeah. Is there like a best size for the main hero image?
Best size for main hero image.
Do
Actually,
you
when
have
it
a
comes to the hero, you kind of just have to play around with it. Because it allows you to crop things, it makes it pretty easy. It's not going to, there's a certain ratio that it follows right here. Aspect ratio is kind of set to 96:31. And so that's the ratio that I would follow when you're making your hero row and you're adding your image in there.
That's great.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Will the point of sale be added to the mobile app? Not at this time because the point of sale is really an admin function, and I don't think we have any current plans to add
Mhm.
that to the mobile app at this time. Robert wants to know, will this presentation be sent to us? So, Robert, we're going to put this up on the Court Reserve YouTube channel. If you'll give us today to get that up there, then you can actually review this as much as you'd like, stop and go. But for sure, and I don't know, Robert, where you are with Court Reserve, but definitely if you're still in the onboarding phase, your onboarding specialist can help you with this as well. Or I don't know, Dylan, do you know nights and weekends maybe? Sure.
Well, I will say this. If ever you need to, you can always hop in the chat with live support right here, or you can email us at support@CourtReserve and start a conversation, and we'll help you out as best we can there.
Yeah, that's great. All
Yep.
right, let's see. Oh, you're getting some props. Thank you so much, Dylan. You did great in spite of being a first timer. It's
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Andrew says, does Shift Control V also paste unformatted like in Word?
Unformatted. Okay. Shift Control V. That's a great question.
Control V? Yeah,
So
I
if
haven't
I
played with that one.
I'm going to copy my text here. I'm going to do Shift Control V. Aha! Who said that? Robert?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, Robert, you are a genius. You know more than me a little bit here. So yes, it absolutely does work. So if you do Control Shift V, it will get rid of the formatting from your previous copy. So that's a really good insight, Robert.
Yeah, that's great. All right. I can't pronounce his first name, but Mr. Rabapati, I believe that's a male. He says, how can we customize the menu items?
How can you customize the menu items? That's a great question. So a lot of the menu you are not able to customize. You are able to either show or not show certain things based on the navigation. And then as far as allowing your members to see or not see the option to reserve, that's going to be based on the option here under booking settings general, if I'm allowing my members to book online or not. So I'm allowing mine to book online so they can see it. But as far as customizing the menu, like we said earlier, we can add specific links and custom links that we want to by creating header links here. And previously in the webinar, we went over creating different pages and linking to different things, but that's about as custom as you're going to be able to get is by adding your own links here, and particular things within Court Reserve can be renamed, like events can be renamed, and
yeah, can you show us where you would rename events?
Sure. So in settings, I believe it's in general. It might be in portal settings.
I think
Let's
it is in
see.
general. I think it's
Here
down
we
there
go.
somewhere at the
Yeah.
bottom. Yep.
Alternate name for event. So if we want to, we can say clinic and click save. And throughout my whole organization now, instead of events, you're going to see clinics. And so now I've got clinics right here showing instead of events.
And always make sure if you do change events that you do it as a singular word, because we automatically put an S on it. So if you change it to program, don't do programs or it'll be programs.
Yeah, it's good to
All
keep it
right.
singular.
Mr. Avapati said the best size for heroes seems to be 1980 by 620.
All right.
That's
his word
good.
for it.
Yep, we'll do that. And our last question that we have right now, are you able to show us some good samples of good designs of the homepage?
That
Let's
is
see.
a great question.
Actually, we used to have a list of some public facilities that we really love their homepages.
For sure.
But I'm not sure where that lives anymore.
Let me see. I know someone sent me some a while back. I'm not sure if we have their permission or not, though, to share them.
Yeah, I think I'd be careful doing that as well.
For
Now,
sure.
USTA National Campus, Alex, uses Court Reserve in Orlando, Florida. And their webpage looks really good. So if you actually Google USTA National Campus and go to like book courts, it'll pull up to be Court Reserve. Or here we go. We can actually look at it right here. Do the National Campus, the third one.
The third one.
Yep. Their homepage, I really like their homepage. It's really clean. Oh, you got to sign your waiver
not
and
gonna
stuff.
be able to sign it.
But Alex, you could look up both the National USTA National Campus in Orlando and Billie Jean King in New York and look at their pages and be able to see that. Oh, there it is.
Here we go.
It's just a simple, clean page. The pictures are clean. 2 buttons and all your header links at the top. Basic information.
they've got a black and white logo, and they're keeping that theme throughout their whole homepage, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. They've got
Yeah, I
black
like that.
buttons, black text, everything like that. Looks
Yep.
good.
That one looks good. So, all right, let's see if we have any more. I think, well, this has been fantastic. Oh, Alex, nice to meet you too. Yeah, we did meet in Fort Lauderdale.
Nice.
Well, again, if you have any additional questions, please reach out to our live chat support. And thank you, Dylan. You rocked your first Court Reserve
Awesome.
webinar. Kudos and hand claps all around. And this will be on the Court Reserve YouTube channel by tomorrow at least. And thanks for joining us today. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care, everybody.